We begin tonight with MP's expenses officially released today. That's as opposed to the unofficial release of Simon Bridges' expenses earlier in the week. More on that shortly. And they show politicians have been spending up large on travel and accommodation. Now, in the first 3 months of 2018, the total bill was $1.5 million. In the next 3 months, it was more than $2 million. This, of course, comes as the Speaker of the House launches an inquiry into that leak. Earlier this week, our political editor Jane Patterson has been looking at the numbers.
What we've looked at is what MPs spent in the first 3 months of the year and then what they spent in the second quarter. And between those two time periods, there was about $500,000 increase between the first and the second quarter of this year. And these are to do with travel and accommodation that MPs use. Now, if we go back to look at it at the same time last year, there's a similar trend. So the spend was smaller at the start of the year, and that could account for the fact that, of course, Parliament's not sitting. That takes in part of January, so maybe they're not doing so many parliamentary activities. But also, I would say we don't have the ministerial expenses, so this is not the whole picture. This is just for MPs. So for Labour, for example, we have what their non-ministerial MPs spend, but we don't have the figures of what the ministers spend, and the same for the Greens and New Zealand First, which will add to their total. So we don't have the full picture, but that is the trend that we've seen from the first to the second quarter.
We do have Simon Bridges' expenses, of course. We got them prematurely, according to almost everyone except the person who leaked them. What's going to happen here? So there is an inquiry. Trevor Mallard is getting a QC in, a forensic IT specialist, in case this person was stupid enough to simply email the expenses direct to whoever was receiving them. If we find out who is responsible for this leak, what happens, Jane?
If it is an MP and no other party received the information of National Party MPs, so on that assumption, we're looking at the National Party caucus. If it is an MP, that would have to be grounds for expulsion from the caucus. I can't see that an MP that did that could then make a case for it, especially given the leader, Simon Bridges, has talked to the caucus. His MPs have denied it. They've denied it to his face. If it is found to be one of them, I think they're gone. Now, if it is a member of the parliamentary service or someone who works for Parliament, again, that becomes an employment matter. But given the high focus and the importance of them working confidentially, given the sort of information that they handle, including electorate and constituency matters, I imagine that they would be marched out of the door pretty quickly as well.
So where this becomes really fascinating is if it is an electorate MP, right? Now we're joining lots and lots of dots and reading lots and lots of tea leaves. So let's say absolutely we're dealing with a hypothetical here. But if it is an electorate MP, they are expelled from caucus. They can stay on. They can just go and sit there as an independent, quietly pulling their salary. What would happen in those circumstances? Now,
they can at the moment, John, but remember the Waka Jumping Bill or the Electoral Integrity Amendment Bill is actually making its way through Parliament as we speak. It's in the committee stages, so it's got one more debate and then it becomes law. Now, hypothetically, if the inquiry finds that it's a caucus member and they go through the process of expulsion and the Waka Jumping law is in place, it would automatically mean an electorate MP or a list MP would be out of Parliament. The seat would be vacated. So that is a potential that National must have in mind as well, but actually it would probably work in their favour. They opposed this bill, but as we saw from Brendan Horan, the New Zealand First MP, who was expelled from caucus and then hung around as an independent, in fact, that situation is what has driven the Waka Jumping Bill. It's not great for the party that is left there. There's a visible reminder of a big breakdown, a big bust up in the party. And of course, any MP in Parliament still has the ability to do a bit of stirring, do a bit of strategy against maybe their former leader. So it would be certainly in National's interests if that MP, if they were found to have done it, actually were gone altogether.
Jane Patterson, our political editor.